Okay, welcome back to another edition of First 10. In case you don't remember, one of this is the series where I look at the first 10 episodes of a TV series that I really know nothing about, going in completely spoiler free, and I decide whether or not it's worth continuing to watch based on those. This time, I took a look at My Hero Academia, which honestly is a show that I have been avoiding despite having Hulu for the past 2 months now, and it being up there. the The reason for that is that, from what I could tell from what I had seen promoting it and everything, was that it seemed to just be it to me. It looked like it was just going to be a Japanese version of Teen Titans Go, only with my most hated of anime cliches. You know, the yelling, the long powering ups, the speed lines, and just with and it just looked like it was just going to be nothing but an attempt at clever comedy aimed at really young kids. So I really wasn't looking forward to seeing this like at all. But people kept bugging me, and so I decided to give it a try. And without giving away too much, I have to say this is one of the most pleasant surprises I have seen in a long time. And in fact, this may be the best superhero series I have seen since Batman the Animated Series. It may be tied with that. And I am and that takes a lot for me to say. I this series has heart to it. It's actually about telling a story. It takes until the end of episode 2 for it to really kick in, but once it does, oh my gosh, things really kick up, and you really see just what type of show you're in for. The basic premise is that there's a kid named Izaku who is born into a world where it's basically the flip side of every world ever. Now here the every superhero story ever made. Um, Here's the thing. I think I may be the only person who liked. Um, I'm pretty sure I am. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the world who liked the uh, Agents of Shield from episode 1, and actually liked season 1 the best out of all the seasons of Agents of Shield, because nobody had powers in that. And in a universe, and I watch superheroes to see them using their powers and stuff just like everybody else. However, one of the interesting world building things for me with superheroes is always wondering just how do you function in a world if you're a normal person where there are people with superpowers. And one of the things that episode did very well is it talked about the frustration people would feel, and how it would and what that would be like, how you all of a sudden realize you now have all these other people that you have to compete with who can just do everything better than you without even trying. And what place does a normal person have in that world? And and that's what the first episode of Agents of Shield explored very well, was that idea. Now this show takes that even further, because and it has a very simple premise that I'm surprised I haven't seen done in a comic book before. It takes that premise and it puts it and it and it takes a simple premise of just it has basically you're in a world where 80% of the population has superpowers. So immediately, if you don't have superpowers, you're on the defensive. Like our protagonist, you're on the defensive. And in the first few couple of episodes, he does cry a little too much for my taste. I wish that they had turned it down, and I wish they had done a better job animating the tears. That's one thing. And it does have those cliches I mentioned. So bear that in mind for all the positives I'm about to bring up for the show. But it's not just that he's always wanted to be a hero, but he doesn't have what's called a quirk. Everyone, pretty much 80% of the population has some sort of quirk. Some of them are more useful than others. And he looks up to the big goofy character. If you've seen any promotional art or anything for this, you've probably seen the big goofy character All Might, who I thought was just a big goofy parody of Superman at first, but no, he actually has tons and tons of heart, and there's actually a reason for the big goofy smile and for his over the top attitude that makes sense in this world. And it's actually part of the burden he has to carry, and this explores that. This whole series has a very Silver Age Marvel Comics feel to it. I feel like that this is written by some. I feel like this is like I don't know anything about the creators because I don't want to go on a Wikipedia or anything like that. I'm a very casual anime fan, and so I don't know anything about the creators or anything like that. I just know what I like when it's anime, and that's it. But so I but I don't know if they were fans of Marvel's Silver Age, but this has a very Silver Age Marvel feel in that the heroes aren't constantly caught up in drama between each other. And what's more, there's more to the heroes than meets the eye. Like I said, All Might, it's part of his burden that he always has to have this big goofy smile and this over the top attitude. It's actually part of part of what he does to deter crime is to make everybody think that he can't be beaten. And they go on to show that in this world that if people think he can be beaten, that could be some trouble and further down the line. And he's training this kid Izaki who's going to this and gets him into this superhero school where he's also the teacher, but he's not pulling strings. And Azu and our hero, it's not just that he wants to be a hero. It's not enough for him to want to be a hero. That's one thing that helps separate this from a lot of stuff. It's not enough for him to have the dream. He has to work darn hard. He has to work like really, really, really hard, like sweating bullets and nearly collapsing on everything. And again, that he has a very relatable everyman quality to him, and it wins you over despite some of the worst anime cliches in this. Oh, and this show, it may be the last show that will ever make this joke because the Japanese just don't care about political correctness. One of his classmates in this superhero academy that is like it's like if the Xavier School was run correctly. Um, it, but and that's where he goes, and All Might is one of his teachers. But one of his childhood hero, All Might, is one of his teachers there, and this kid, there's one kid who's a classmate, and this joke may never be told yet, but it's the effeminate Frenchman who may as well be gay, except he's always hitting on the chicks thing. Yeah, the Japanese do not care about political correctness at all because there's a character that exists just to make the joke that ha ha he's French, he's gay. That's really his only purpose in the plot. But all the other characters are really well drawn, and you learn more about them. And I don't want to go into too much about this, other than to say it is the best structured superhero universe I have seen. Um, you know, it's really ever. It seems to have put a lot of thought into this, and and I'm just on the edge of my seat, and I've shown the first few episodes to everyone, and if you're going to give this a try, you have to watch until at least the end of episode 3, I think, in order to get it. In order to see if you're going to get it. If you make it to the end of episode 3, I think you're gonna like it. And so far, everyone I've done that with has liked it, even people who aren't into anime. So, yeah, um, this show is getting a rating of must watch for me. This is must see TV. It is pretty much everything I've ever wanted out of a superhero series. This is Marvel's Silver Age come to life. And if Marvel and DC want to change the direction of how their comic sales are going, I'm not saying that they should duplicate everything here exactly down to the superhero score ever, but the heart of this series, this is what they need to duplicate. This is what they need to look at. This isn't about heroes moaning around about whether or not it's moral for them to use their powers. This isn't heroes refusing to use their work together when people are in danger because, oh, I don't like you. Oh, you took a political stance I don't like. This isn't heroes stopping to lecture the public on how awful they are, or for because of the crimes of their ancestors. No, the heroes come together and they work together, and they're just expected to work together. And the trouble comes from outside. It's really well developed, and it's developing one of the best super villains. I'm pretty sure one of the characters is going to be a supervillain, and it's developing one of the best supervillains I've seen in a long time. So, yeah, this show, well worth watching. You should check it out. My Hero Academia is now must-watch TV for me, and if you have any interest in superheroes, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And this is right now tied with Batman the Animated Series as being my favorite superhero show of all time. So, hope you enjoy it. See ya.